Almost all young guys focus their nights out to the bars and clubs on trying to attract a beautiful woman. Not only is this whole approach of meeting women highly unsuccessful, but the entire paradigm is wrong. But there is another way that no one talks about. I want to introduce you to a whole new way of thinking. I'm going to teach you a new approach to life, dating, and meeting women. And if you really listen to what I'm saying, you will find that women start approaching you instead. Not only will women approach you, but you will find yourself with more options than ever before. You will find the whole script flipped. But first, let me explain why trying to meet women at the bars and clubs is a terrible idea. Let's start with the setting. The setting of where you meet women matters. Unless you are super attractive, you probably rely on verbal game to attract women. That is what you say and how you say it. And in a club, the music is way too loud for you to be able to have a good conversation. So just like that, one of your main tools can't be used. None of your wit, your jokes, your smooth delivery can be heard properly. The whole conversation is just you shouting in each other's ears and misunderstanding what is being said. Secondly, the odds are really stacked against you. Just imagine what going to a club is like for your average girl. All night they have to deal with creepy guys, staring at them and trying to get their attention in odd and outright weird ways. All night they're swatting away desperate guys like flies. By the time you go up to her, she's already in defensive mode. You have a lot of disarming to do to prove you're not a threat to her. Even if your social skills are on point, it's an uphill battle. Unless you are, for some reason, clearly really popular with the crowd at the club, jaw-droppingly attractive, or famous, she's not going to entertain the thought of you at all. If she does flirt with you, there's likely a few things going on. She's just enjoying the attention, but not romantically interested. She's trying to get a drink off you. She's recently had a breakup, and her self-esteem is on the floor. She's too drunk. She has unresolved daddy issues. Do you want to invite that into your life? Now, let's go a little deeper into human psychology and economics. The whole club setting plays to the girl's advantage. Think of it in terms of supply and demand. At the club, there is no shortage of desperate guys ready to take whatever they can get, and most of the women are only interested in a handful of guys there. There is a disproportional balance of desirability from the men to the women. This puts the power to choose on the women. This means they dictate almost entirely the market. You are in her frame. So, to summarize, the clubs are the worst place for you to meet women. Not always, but often the type of girl you meet there isn't good for you, and probably neither you for her if all you're after is to get laid. We've also talked about how the supply and demand does not work in your favor in the clubbing setting. But you gotta understand that value is not inherent, but rather perceived. The perception of value can change with the setting you're in. I bet you would pay a lot more for a bottle of water if you were stranded in the middle of a desert, rather than if you were in the middle of a cool city with plenty of choice of places to drink. The same bottle of water in different circumstances dictates its value. You can place yourself in a setting where you stand out, where you are perceived as the desirable object, and therefore you control the supply to the demand. You can place yourself in a setting where you stand out and experience the same level of choice that a girl does in a nightclub. How do you do this? An easy hack is to do both of these things. 1. Develop a cool skill. 2. Place yourself in a setting where you can show off that cool skill to people who appreciate that cool skill. This is essentially marketing, but applied to yourself. You have some value, but in order to benefit from that value, you have to market it to others, essentially show it off. A quick word on showing off. There's nuance to it. You want to be in a place where you are naturally and casually emanating your value. Just as a girl isn't actively showing off her beauty, she just wears it. It's just her essence. You must effectively do the same. Let me tell you how I first discovered how to put myself in an optimal setting. I used to be painfully timid and shy, but one day I had had enough of hiding myself. An opportunity came up locally to be a part of an amateur theater production for a musical I particularly enjoyed. I was also secretly a good singer. So I auditioned for the show, absolutely crushed it, and got a main part. Now I was surrounded by dozens of attractive women in the cast and performing to hundreds of women in the audience who valued the skill of singing and performance in a setting where the attention is on me. For women, they love attention, and they find a guy who gets a lot of attention, especially from other women, very attractive. At this time of my life, I felt like I enjoyed celebrity status. Dozens of new women every night, literally, would all compete for my attention. Now I was enjoying the flip dynamic. So what skills or desirable traits might you have? And how might you optimally place yourself in a situation where you benefit from it? Perhaps you play an instrument really well. Consider joining a band or some social music club. Maybe there's a public piano somewhere. Just casually play something beautiful like it's nothing. I guarantee a girl would initiate a conversation. I know, because I do this. Maybe you have a great body. Places like the beach or the gym are settings that favor you. I'm quite athletic myself. I've got a very high success rate for meeting gorgeous and wholesome women at the beach. They'll find some way to talk to you. Are you charismatic? Almost any social club or gathering would do well for you. You just got to get creative with it. Find something interesting to do, get good at it, be courageous, and put yourself out there. Let's go over some final thoughts. I think you should go to the clubs only if you want to, and if that's how you like to spend your time. But you should throw away the idea that you go to clubs with the primary goal of meeting women. Just go out to have fun. You might find that you go to clubs far less often. You should put yourself in settings where you can showcase something that makes you stand out. This puts good attention on you, which leads to women finding you attractive and approaching you. It's all about strategically making use of the advantages that you have. Double down on your strengths and make sure you're visible. If you don't have any skills, develop something you find interesting. Do it for you. This has been Tactical Psychology. This is the only place on YouTube where you can find the blueprint to radically change your social life. Why should you listen to me? Because I'm like you. I used to be painfully shy, socially awkward, and anxious, and terribly lonely. But I didn't accept that this was going to be my life forever. I realized that social skills, since we are inherently social animals, are the best skills you can develop. I've read over 50 books on psychology. I've spent the last 5 years pushing past my anxiety and speaking to new people. I've spent the last decade journaling and studying myself. I know how to take you from 0 to 100. I know how to go from lonely to being more popular than you can handle, because I've done it. I've got the blueprint for you to follow. If you want to learn about strategically using psychology in your day-to-day life, to win with friends, family, work colleagues, in business, and with women, you have to subscribe because I have so much more information for you. Thank you for your time, and I hope to see you again.